thanks again for visiting our website. I hope you'll find some things on here that will help you and speak to you and give you some tools for marriage, for relationship, for family. One of the things I want to share with you right now is to continue to talk a little bit about the idea of men's and women's different needs in a marriage and in a relationship. Again, this is kind of based on the idea from Ephesians 5:33 in the Bible, which says, "Let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself," speaking to men, "and let the wife see that she respects her husband." Again, the idea that men and women are created by God, hardwired with very different psychology and different needs. And if you understand that and give each other what each other needs, it'll really strengthen your relationship and make your marriage very good. But what happens in a lot of marriages, and a lot of times because people simply don't understand, is something that I call a rejection cycle. And of course, a cycle means it's something that repeats and it repeats. Once it begins, it tends to repeat itself. In fact, it tends to get worse and spiral down. And a rejection cycle is based on the idea of rejection or the feeling of rejection. So that if one person in the marriage feels that they've been rejected, not necessarily purposely outright rejected, "I reject you, I don't want you," but little things, a look, an insult, a wise remark, a neglecting to do something, neglecting to show just some attention or some courtesy. Those types of things tend to make a person feel rejected. And once someone feels rejected, they tend to kind of dish it back a little bit. And the thinking behind it is, you made me feel rejected, you hurt me, I'm going to teach you a little bit of a lesson. I'm going to dish it back a little bit at you so that you'll understand. The problem is, it never works that way. What actually happens is you dish back a little bit of rejection, and then the other person dishes it right back again, and probably doesn't even know why you did that. And pretty soon, when people start showing rejection to each other, you have a cycle or a spiral that just goes downward from there. Again, based on this verse, what we need to understand, of course, is that men need to feel respected by their wife in the relationship and the family. And we also need to understand that a wife, needs to feel appreciated, loved, emotionally connected. And so one thing that might really hurt the feelings of a woman wouldn't hurt the feelings of a man at all. He wouldn't care about it at all. Something that would really actually hurt the man wouldn't bother the woman that much, and they don't understand each other's needs that way. So if you make your husband feel disrespected in some way, he might, kind of teach you a lesson and dish it back at you a little bit. Or if you, husband, if you make your wife feel unloved, unappreciated, disconnected from you, neglected in some way emotionally, she'll feel rejected, she'll dish it back at you. And again, you're trying to teach each other a little bit of a lesson, but in fact it doesn't work that way. What actually happens is you increase the cycle, and you start dishing back rejection at each other in a way that tends to actually escalate. What happens after a certain number of months or years of that usually is that a couple will build up walls around their heart. And what they're actually doing is protecting themselves from each other. They wouldn't consciously say it that way. They might not even consciously recognize it. But they build up these walls, and they're literally saying, "I'm protecting myself from you, and I'm going to keep some distance here. I've got a wall around my heart." And there tends to be a buildup over time of deep hurt, deep resentment, and even a very deep sense of mistrust or distrust, that I really can't trust this person at all. In fact, this person I'm married to is this toxic, crazy monster, that really can't be trusted and destroys people. And you started out in love. What happened? Well, it's called the rejection cycle. But it can be repaired. There is a solution for this if two people want to fix it, want to address the issue. Because understanding again that men and women have different needs is going to be a big key to fixing this. I'll talk about that in another video.